to our next caller here. This is going to be Young.
Hey, Bart.
So you got a hand for us?
I do. It's what I've been kind of thinking about for 2 weeks. This is from the Bellagio 510.
510 used to be 1,500 cap, right? Did they up the
It
cap?
was. I know this because I was visiting with the intent to play the Bellagio 510 at a 1,500 cap. It turns out it was kind of a recent change where they made it to 2,500.
Okay.
Which is something I play anyway on the East Coast. So, yeah, it's a 2,500 cap now. I don't know how new that is, but it's relatively recent.
And then I was like, well, I wonder what they did with their 5.5 because I remember they used to have a shallow 5.5, kind of like Commerce, which was 500. And I'm like, that's a big range to have like a. Did they up the 5.5 to like a 1K or something? You know what I mean? I think there's a game in between now. But
yeah, I don't know, but I can't imagine they would change the 510 cap and not change the 5.5. Yeah, that's my presumption. Yeah.
All right, so Bellagio 510, now it's a 2,500 max buy-in. Okay.
Cool. So we're 8-handed,
okay,
and we are 4,760 effective.
Okay, so 40. Okay, so pretty deep. 4,760 effective. Okay. By the way, is there a 10-20 going at the time, or is this the biggest game in the room?
There's talks about it. I think it's a little early in the night, but like there's some rumblings about it.
But it's not going now. You're sitting in the biggest game in the room right now. Right now.
At the time.
At the time. Okay. Yeah. 4,760 effective. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So UTG main villain, he makes it 30. Now I'm next to act with Jack 9 of spades, and I make it 90.
So you're +1, and you 3-bet to 90 with Jack of spades, 9 of spades, 8-handed. Obviously, this is a little bit on the lighter side. Are you just always playing a 3-bet or fold strategy from this, when I say configuration, like +1 versus early, under the gun?
This early, yes. I can't really think of a lot of hands I'm flat calling here with. So, if I want to play Jack 9 suited and go like post flop, I'm probably just raising. I do understand that it's probably a hand I wouldn't 3-bet like 100 big steep, but I figured I was so deep
that would definitely. I think that would be a very large mistake to actually 3-bet this hand 100 big steep for sure. I mean, this could be a partial. Some of the time it's kind of like maybe akin to like I'd probably rather have this hand than like 3-betting like 5-6 suited, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just for tie card value. So it's not. I mean, you're not doing it every time, but okay. So you 3-bet to 90, a little bit small though off of the stack size, 4,700 in position.
That's some feedback that I got already. Yeah, my size is not that. What would you make it? Kind of like 120-ish?
Yeah, it's probably going to be like 4x or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Noted. Mm-hmm. Well, I made a 3x, and everyone folds except UTG. So we're heads up.
Is there a reason why you like? What's the deal with this guy? Is there a reason? Was there any particular reason why you?
So I want to be careful about my reads on the villain. A lot of my reads on the villain came kind of afterwards, but I had just moved to this table, and I could kind of pick up within an orbit that he was a mark at the table.
A mark? That's a word.
Yeah, he was kind of splashing around. Yeah, just one of those. If you're there, you just kind of know.
Okay.
So happy to play pots with him, but I just want him kind of heads up.
Mm-hmm.
So one could say this was kind of like an ISO as opposed to like a value raise. So he calls, making the pot 195.
Okay.
And the flop is 9 of diamonds, 9 of clubs, 6 of hearts.
Wow, what a life!
Yeah, against this guy. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So you flop trip 9s, 3-betting Jack 9 from +1. Okay.
Yeah. So he checks. I decide half pot is the move. I make it 100. What do you think of that?
So UTG checks and hero bets 100. This is a really, really tight configuration here. +1 plus versus under the gun. So it's 996. I bet you're sort of quote unquote allowed to go larger here because I mean, he's probably not going to have much 9x here. You probably shouldn't have much 9x. And then maybe he has 6-6 probably more often than you do. I mean, it's not like deuce 3, but I think there's probably other sizings going on besides like a range like 1/3 type of bet. I got to be honest with you, even in an exploitable sort of sense here, the fact that you have a good hand and you
Yeah.
want to start getting money in here and you're playing deep, I might choose a larger, larger sizing here.
Go larger. Okay, noted.
Yeah.
And villain check raises to 220, which is just a min click.
So +1, oh, excuse me, UTG to 220. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is that, well, it is kind of a min click, but usually if you hadn't told me the sizings on the flop, you said, okay, I 3-bet pre. It came out 996. I have Jack 9. He checks. I bet he check raises me on 996 and I have Jack 9. That's normally going to be like aces, kings, some sort of overpair that's trying to trap you.
Yeah.
This little sizing, though, I wonder if he ever has like, I don't know, like a find out where I'm at with like tens or jacks. You do things to get more money in the pot when you're deep. I guess you probably wouldn't do a lot of 3-betting at the stack depth with aces and kings. So if you want to sort of stay somewhat balanced here, then you probably do just call. As you get shallower, you would see like a lot of 3-betting, flop 3-betting with like aces and kings, and certainly could 3-bet. But I don't know, at this stack depth, it's weird though, because it's a min click. So, already this is kind of out the window. I mean, you could go to like 500-600 here. I don't know if this guy's ever click folding here. Like, what is he click folding? When I say click folding, I'm talking about like min raise folding,
Probably nothing.
I don't know. PLO button clicker says Bart loves staying balanced. I don't think so, man. No, man, it's a lot of exploit. In my poker.
This is a hand where I'm going for exploits only. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask if is this ever a 3-bet, but okay.
So I assume you didn't 3-bet though.
No, it did occur to me, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just like too thrown off by min clicks. I just flat called.
I mean, I think if it was like a normal size raise, it would be mostly a call, but it's just weird. The min click is just throws it kind of out the window. You know what I mean?
Min click, it feels like a 9 from like smaller stakes. It just
yeah,
and I
you
know
have a 9 though. 9. I mean, how often is he going to have a 9? You 3-bet a 9 and then 2 9s came out on the board?
Exactly. I'm like, there's only one 9, but like just in like smaller stakes, from what I've seen, like a min click just feels like I have trips and I just really want to milk your overpair type deal. But you're right. I have a 9, so I flat call.
Yep. Okay.
That makes the pot 635.
Okay.
And this is probably the reason I'm calling in. The villain bets 750 in the dark.
Okay, so yeah, we're dealing with a fun player. So he min clicked and then he went 750 dark here.
Yeah, into a pot of 635.
I mean, I haven't seen, before we even talk about what the turn card is, what do I think of this now? Like I said, I thought it was a little bit kind of fishy, the min click anyway. I mean, this is just me really going into the depths of my experience. I don't know if I've actually seen this type of, maybe once in a while, but the fact that he's blind betting the turn and you have what you have makes me feel much better about my hand. And I think it weights him towards having like aces or kings, to be honest with you. I mean, if I just called his min click and now he blind bets turn, I think he's got either aces or kings, or who knows if he's this type of player, he's a maniac and he's just trying to bluff you off of what he thinks you have. So you could have a decision where you want to get the money. You sort of get this decision is like, am I just trying to let this guy bluff off and he's trying to represent what I have? Or does he really have aces or kings? And do I need to start putting more money in to get all the money in? Those are the two choices that you'll sort of arrive with on the turn. What is the turn?
First, do you think I can give this guy aces or kings because of pre-flop action?
There's a lot of guys that will just call because they think that they're trapping. The reason why I think that is because of the fact that this whole, the whole sort of, the line post, I don't think he probably has like jacks or queens though now. Like if we were ever thinking of that, it's kind of funny. I mean, I'm in the moment. You can't do this. Usually everything about blind calling. He blind bets the turn. You could blind call him. Remember back in the days, like in the high stakes poker with Jamie Gold and Sammy.
I love that hand.
I love that hand. What a blind call. And I think what they did was like they blind checked to the turn. It went like, it's like a 4.
You have the aces.
Yeah, it was 4-bet pot. And then Jamie had I think it was Jamie had kings. He four
Yeah.
bet Sammy. Sammy called, and then Jamie checked blind, and I think Sammy checked behind blind. So they put
Yeah,
out four cards
he somehow talked Sammy into a
at the
check
river.
flop
It
on the
was
river.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the
Uh,
turn?
so turn is the four of hearts. I I did want to say I have run into like a blind bet on the turn before. Another time, um, with someone with a monster draw. So that did cross my mind. It's like, is this guy kind of doing it with the draw? But regardless, that's not relevant now. Turn is the four of hearts.
Okay.
I'm never folding. My
No, of course
decision
you're never
is,
folding, right?
yeah, am I raising or flat calling?
Well, so if you call, the pot's going to be like right around like 21, 22, and you guys have put in like right around 1,000, so you're going to have like 3,700 left. It kind of seems like it's more of a call than a raise because your hand's just so insanely strong here if you raise. And you could still get value probably from some of those hands like aces and kings on the river, but it's sort of a once a guy min click like blind bets, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everything kind of goes out the window because I
Right.
think that some of his there is like probably a higher frequency of a spaz bluff that I don't want him to fold. And again, I can still get value from some of those hands that we talked about before. So
What
yeah,
what kind of spazzes does he have?
he just I mean, what you want me to like name the hands that he's like structuring with? I mean,
Yeah.
you know what's proper? I don't know. Jack 10 suited with a backdoor. I mean, that's proper, but who knows? Maybe he
Yeah.
just thinks you're full of shit, you know? I It's just such
Yeah.
a bizarre type of thing.
Yeah. Well, the turn I don't take too much time. Like I decide I'm not raising here, so I call.
Okay, so hero so 750 blind bet. Hero calls, and now we're at
I have
2135, right?
yeah, 2135.
Okay.
That's what I
Yep.
have.
Yep.
Um so I call.
Yep.
2135 river is the five of diamonds.
So the 5 of diamonds on the river.
Mhm.
5 of diamonds on the river, okay. And obviously you're not first, he's first. So what happens now?
He goes all in for 3700.
3,700. Goes all in for 3,700. That's a big bet here. Why do I feel like I guess a 750, 37. Yeah, I guess that's right. You're 47. Okay. So
Yeah, he has me covered. He goes all in. I'm 3700 to call.
3,700. I just can't fold here. I can't fold here. I mean, I understand that it's sort of like a very, very strong line, but I have a nine. I mean, I guess you're losing to other larger nines like ace nine that would defend and maybe some 6-6, but I mean, if you go down the line here,
Hmm.
like, I mean, you'd much rather call here with Jack nine than like aces, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this has got to be like one of the best hands you can possibly have. Now, I understand that goes out the window, and people use like this whole minimum defense frequency. Probably they overdo it a little bit when you're thinking about like in some live poker. But I don't know. I mean, I would have to. This would be a massive,
Hmm.
massive exploit to fold here. You three bet UTG from +1. You should not have a nine here, almost ever, and you have
Yeah.
it. You have it. You know what I mean? Like it's like he has
Hmm.
actually way more nines defending. I think your three bet than you actually have three betting here. It's just. Let me ask you this question: what would you do with aces?
Oh man. I don't know. Probably the same thing I do with nines, but aces I'm calling. Aces I'm
Okay,
calling.
so another thing that
See,
we did wash over that 7-8 got there. That's actually it's not the biggest brick in the world. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. 7-8 suited. So that is a hand that you lose to. 7-8 suited.
I kept thinking about that and sixes. The reason I was thinking about 7-8 suited was because whether I'm right or wrong, I just kind of have this idea that like blind bets are draws. That just if it works, if you bank the turn, it works. But otherwise, you can kind of shut down. Um, and that the river like made that straight draw. Like I was just like, why that card?
Right, right.
Um,
I mean, like I said, I did wash over that a little bit. I still have a hard time. And then again, like you still sort of go down this route of if he has some really crazy thick value,
uh-huh.
is he sort of taking this unbelievable line? Although 7-8 would probably make more sense of like, oh, he blind bet on a draw and then he sort of got there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what ended up happening? What did you do?
Oh, I went into the tank. Not really happy about this, but I ended up folding.
But I thought you said you would call with aces.
Yeah, I'm overthinking things. Like
Okay.
in the moment, I was just really in my head, and like I just could not get away from the fact that like he blind bet over a pot. So I admit I was a little like frazzled. I did go into the tank and I folded
Okay, so
uh,
did you ever get a reveal?
right away. The guy tabled five of clubs, deuce of hearts.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
By the way, do you remember me saying?
yeah,
Remember when you asked me when I said, "Oh, if he's a maniac, just let him bluff off." By the way, he
yeah,
turned a gut shot on the turn. He
yeah.
went from having nothing, and you're like, "Well, what would he have? He could have anything." That's what I said. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the min click blind bet
Hmm.
suddenly expands what I think about my opponent, and it brings in all of this a range of nonsense. And I think that's accurate. Min click blind bet for over pot brings a range of nonsense into his overall range. And I'm not surprised that he shows up with nonsense because it's a nonsense line. That's how I would interpret this entire situation. And that's why I also said when he blind bet turn, that made me feel really good about your hand when he blind bet turn. Because I thought it was either bullshit or it was like, you know, aces or kings, and obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
you beat aces and kings if you ever took this line at the end. So that's why I would call. But thanks a lot for the call, Young. I appreciate it.